Does everybody have one of the package? No. If not, I'll give him one out. I might not have enough. Oh. No, I've got another one. Thank you. Oh, we really have, let me go see, find some more. This is Chris Sheridan, and he is going to talk to us about design methods and building project management. We had a very good discussion in the last session. I think everyone here will benefit and enjoy this topic. We have to leave the lights on. We didn't earlier for the video purposes. So let me know if you have a leaking button difficulty you trying to read and see the problem. And I'll turn it over to Chris. I'm gonna see if there is more comments made for you.
Okay. Well, we've got some handouts that cover. There's a copy of every slide that's got text on it. So don't feel like you got to write something out. I did not have handouts for all the text. The order of our presentation is that we're going to compare. Oh, wait. Is that any better? The order of our presentation is that we're going to cover the three main delivery methods that we find today, and then we're going to discuss ways that the owner needs to prepare for any of those delivery methods. In the course of that discussion, I think that whatever was advertised is that you're going to learn this and this and this, you know, in the course, all of that will be covered, just not in that specific order. So I have a personal goal also. Well, first of all, these are the types of things that we're going to cover as far as owner preparation is concerned as we get further down. And a lot of this applies to a hard bid in addition to design, build, and see and risk. I have a personal goal, and y'all help me do this. I really do want to give you an insider's view, you know, from the perspective of the contractor. It is my personal desire to be a friend whose only agenda is to help you work through building projects. Now, sort of why is that? Here's a little bit about my background. My great-great-grandfather was also Chris Sheridan, and he came over from Ireland in 1850 as a stonemason. One of the things that he did was help build this church. And I don't know exactly some of the other things he did, but he helped build that church. Now, your family lore leaves a lot of stuff unsaid, I guess. But if you notice, right at the very top are all the Jesuit priests that founded that church. And he must have had a pretty significant role in it because he's right underneath the, priest. In addition to that, my dad who founded our company, his name was Chris. And we came from a large Catholic family. If you have any idea what a large Catholic family is, these are my aunts and uncles. Some of them. These are not all of them, but this is my Uncle Ed. This is my Aunt Mary, who's still living in Villa Mercy in Baltimore, Maryland. This is Father Frank Benedetto, who was head of the physics department at Loyola University. This is his brother right here, Mama. This is Aunt Bernadette, who was with me very easily and very good when I didn't step up to the plate. So,
how come you're out of uniform?
But I tell you what, I hear voices. So, I really do want to take this chance to do what I first said that I wanted to do. A little other background info. I'm very lucky. I'm in the business because I love being in the business, and I started actually working when I was 12 after school to earn a little bit of money. I got an education. I have been active in the industry with the Board of Regents and in the AGC, and I've been active in the diocese here in Savannah. Our company has done 213 projects for the Diocese of Savannah, and we've also taken care of the sisters. That's a command in the Sheridan family. You take care of the sisters. So, now here's a little bit of general wisdom that sort of applies as we get started in all of this. The total cost of ownership of any project that you do can be between 3.5 and 10 times the initial cost of the job. Keep that perspective in mind as you make decisions through the process. Now, the blue writing up there are links to some good articles by national organizations that study stuff like this. And if you pick up the handout, you can get the link and read the article. You can control any two of the following items: price, quality, or schedule. You cannot control all three. You can affect all three and they can all turn out, but in reality you can only control any two of those. And then, as a sort of a footnote, sustainable construction is here to stay. It is a big deal, but LEED, which is one method of measuring the sustainable construction, is sort of falling on hard times. The Board of Regents in the state of Georgia has eliminated LEED requirements. They have not eliminated requirements for sustainable construction at all. They're emphasizing those even more. But they're finding that the cost to implement LEED certification is just not worth it. And there are other organizations that do a similar thing. And so if that is a big deal for some of you folks, then look into what the actual cost of it is. And I'm talking about, I'm parsing out the difference between the cost of implementing that score to get your little plaque to hang on the wall versus getting a better air conditioning system or using LED lights or whatever. And that's different. Okay. Now I want to go into just the characteristics, or some of the characteristics. I'm not saying that these are pluses or minuses. In just about every one of these cases, it is dependent on the particulars of that job. I mean, I can see plenty of cases where hard bid is the way to go, and I can see pluses and minuses to the characteristics. I just want to point all these out so that y'all recognize them. First of all, it's familiar. Most everybody understands what hard bid means. And if you're a penny low, you get the job. If you're a penny high, you roll up your plans and send it back to the architect and go to the next job. So, y'all excuse me, I've got allergies today, pretty bad, and I'm having a hard time talking. Simple to manage. And if you don't have any questions or don't want to pontificate but want to make a comment, then please do. And as I said before, I'll do my dead level best to give you a totally unbiased answer. It will be from the contractor's perspective, but I think the benefit of this class is to have that sort of interplay. You have to fully define the scope, and that can be problematic sometimes. But if you do, then you can end up with a very good situation. The architect and the owner and the builder are accountable to the owner, separately accountable to the owner. That may or may not cause tension. It can be the least expensive method. If the plans are bad, if a contractor looks at those plans and says, aha, I see bad plans, I see change order potential, then it very well may not be the least expensive method by the time you get to the end of the job. So everything has to be, just recognize that. If you need the maximum participation of contractors, if you've got a pretty good group of contractors in your diocese or something, and you want every one of them to feel like they've got a part, this is a very good way to go, because the guy that gets it feels good about it, and the folks that don't get it still feel good about it, because they don't think anybody cut any deals, it's real cut and dry. It is a linear process, and so the time, it's one step in front of the other, and you don't have parallel processes going on. So if time is of the essence, then consider that. This may not be the method you want to use. The price is not established until you get those bids on bid day. And that can be pretty shocking sometimes, and can be an issue. The quality is hard to control. You really don't know exactly. You don't know who's gonna, what general contractor is gonna get the job. If I'm a general contractor and I'm bidding this, and I got a low electrical number, that's $50,000 low, let's say, I've got to make a decision. If I don't use this number, I'm not going to get the job. If I do use this number, I'm not sure if I like this guy or not. You know, what problems am I going to run into, you know, by using that electrical number? So, quality is hard to control for the contractor, much less the owner. And it can foster adversarial relationships. If the architect drew it, I'll pick it up. If he didn't draw it, by God, I'm not putting it in my bid. I'm not going to cover anybody's, but I mean, I'm just, if you drew it, I'll figure it. If you didn't, I won't. You know, people can have, I mean, that is the type of mindset that can, you know, that can come up. So, and believe me, that's not a good mindset to have. But so you can, one of the things that you can do is that if you qualify your contractors, you can ameliorate or eliminate some of these issues. You can certainly make quality something easier to control, and you can select a group of contractors who have a caring mindset for the owner, and they'll do their dead level best to pick up you know, anything they can in the job. So this is a variant of the hard bid method, which is a very good method and very well may apply to you know, your particular situation. Construction management at risk is based on qualifications, not based on low price. In fact, in the state of Georgia, the state interviews the selected, they go through a selection process, they shortlist 5 people, they then interview those 5. Each of the 5 brings an envelope with their fee and the general conditions in the envelope. They select a contractor, they pick the one they want, and then they open that envelope alone, and they negotiate from that point. Excuse me. The state can do that very easy because they've got a database of a zillion jobs, and they know what the market is. And so, you know, they have the ability to negotiate from a pretty strong position, and that works out well. I think it works out well because it really does force you to pick the right fit for the job if you do your homework, and we're going to cover that in a minute. You can control a contractor with CM. You're going to get some pre-construction services. And the reason I say some and emphasize that is because it can run the gamut from really, really powerful services that begin at absolute day one, at one extreme, all the way to, well, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 estimates along the way, and that's going to be it, and I'll give you a GMV at the 100% estimate stage. To me, you really aren't getting much video, you know, out of a CM process if that's the way you work. But you have to carefully define those folks that don't do a lot of CM. When you say, well, what do you get for pre-construction services, that can run all over the map. And we'll cover some of that when we talk about the homework that you as the owner need to do. But still, I don't have time today to really cover that fully. When you can control the subcontractors entirely, when the bid packages are finally written, you can take bids where the owner sits in with the CM and opens the bids together, and the owner gets to look at all of the numbers and all of the details and can help the CM evaluate those bids. And so you can say, well, I don't want this guy. You can pull that off really easy. And that works pretty well. You can fast track the job. And again, if you have a real teamwork approach, then CM is a terrific way to design and build a job, and I'm going to give a couple of examples of that in a minute. Am I going too fast or about right? Or, okay. Disputes should be eliminated. Again, it depends on how you select the team members, and it takes a real skill to select those team members. And we're going to talk about that in a second. You have good flexibility on changes. It's not perfect, but it is good. And the initial cost of the building probably is going to be higher than hard bid. I'm not convinced that this is anecdotal from my perspective, that it's significantly higher. It probably is. I think it's worth it. I'm unbiased, right? Design build, you have a single point of responsibility for what that's worth. There's some good and some bad to that, and I'll talk about that in a second. The contractor is selected on qualifications, not on low price. Typically that's the case. It could be slightly faster than construction management. I don't know that it is significantly faster. I don't think that it is. It's the earliest way to establish a guaranteed maximum price. You can say from day one, this is the guaranteed maximum price. Don't exceed it. That can be written in, to the process, and you can very easily enforce that. But the price tends to match the quality, for better or for worse. And again, it goes back to coming up with a good relationship with the, with your team members. There is no check and balance between the architect and the contractor. And from personal experience, whenever I've worked with a lot of really first-rate architects, and we'll be doing church work, and I'm thinking, we gotta save money, If we're in a city church, they don't have any money, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. And the architect, come on, will say, we can't do that, that's too cheap. And we'll argue back and forth, and usually he wins because he's a great guy. And almost all the time, I look back later on and say, he was right. He made the right choice. So if typically the contractor in a design is the lead dog in a design build process, and so ultimately can make the choice. And sometimes we're right, but I think often we don't have quite the big picture as contractors that an architect can have. So I want to point that out. Don't keep that in mind. And if you're the owner in design build, because you're not controlling the design, it's hard to determine, if you got the best deal or not. That's one issue that I have with it. Right now, I want to go into owner preparation, and the first thing you need to do, yes.
I was just wondering how this might be affected in the case where you have some really big contractors who have to have their own architects on staff. Mm-hmm. And how good a deal is that?
What size job are you talking about?
Well, say build a church or a hall or something like that.
$10, $20 million?
Nah, more like 5, 6.
Then I'm going to cover this later, but I think a really big design build firm is probably too big for a $5 million project, and I think their overhead, you need to right size the job, and sometimes the right size is on the big boys. On that size job, for that reason, I think I would, shy away from somebody like that.
Can you clarify, in your model, construction management at risk, the relationship that the construction manager and the owner have relative to the subcontractor? Who's contracting with the subs?
The CM, yes.
The CM.
Yeah.
So he's really acting traditionally more like a general. There's no subprime contractors directly with the owner.
That's correct.
Okay.
And if you're the owner, you want to have one person to do it.
Absolutely. I just wanted to make sure I got your.
The typical way it works is you select the CM,